STARSEED Ascension welcomes guests from a variety of backgrounds to gain perspectives, experiences, and information in the paranormal, spiritual, and ET space. We are a community of spiritual explorers who seek to help raise consciousness. And now, here's your host of STARSEED Ascension, Jaime Voss Love.
Hey, and welcome back to STARSEED Ascension. It's been a minute, had some time off during the holidays, and then we've had some crazy high winds and power outages due to kind of being in a red flag zone, as I'm sure you guys have heard about. So we do have a special guest on tonight. We have rescheduled her. She's ready to go, and just want to tell you a little bit about her first. So born with an inner sense of knowing, she was aware of the spirit world at a very young age. So at only 3 years old, she began speaking openly about past lives and about others around her that no one else could see. Over the years, her fascination with heaven, reincarnation, and those who have crossed over has flourished. So in 2016, she suffered great loss and remembered thinking, how am I going to live the next 40 years feeling like this? And months later, an image of a man appeared in front of her with details of who he was, how he passed, and that he needed help delivering a message to his sister who was still Earthside. So our guest tonight was able to locate that person who validated the information, and that affirmed her abilities and role as a spiritual medium. So her intention is to bring back an element of peace and comfort to those grieving and to help them find joy and a sense of purpose in life again. She is a spiritual medium psychic and an animal communicator, and she resides in a small little mountain town community. And she has clients all over the globe. So please welcome our guest tonight, Miss Jaime Breeze.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to connect with you. And thank you so much for, your flexibility with all that is going on.
I understand.
I have learned that about you, and just for those that are listening and watching, just to share, I'm out in California right now. I'm also in a small mountain town, so haven't been back to LA yet. And there's so much compassion and love I just want to share for all those who have been impacted. And Jaime, I understand that you recently went through this experience yourself. Is there anything you want to share about that?
It's been 6 months today since we were evacuated in our community, and sadly I lost my home and half of our residence, town, stores, restaurants, all that up in flames just like that. And so to see what's been happening in LA the past couple weeks, like my heart just goes out to everyone. And I mean, it's a scary, unfortunate, devastating, traumatic event that people can go through, a natural disaster, because it's so quick and it's so large. Like the grand scale of devastation is shocking. It's really shocking to people.
Yeah. And we're working a little bit out of kind of linear time. Usually I kind of start with going back, and we'll get there in just a moment. But sure, first I just wanted to share that, just for those who are impacted, I know I have a link on my Instagram. I think I saw one on yours as well, just for anyone who wants to support those who have been impacted. And Jaime, I hope that we can help support you as well. You've been getting asked some questions about tips for animals during a situation like this. Is there anything that sort of?
Yeah, as an animal communicator, I did a post on my Instagram or a reel for our evacuees, and then I reposted it for everyone in Los Angeles or anywhere else in the world that is dealing with stress, even whether it's a natural disaster or a divorce or a move or something like that. And your animals, they're being uprooted too. And so animal communication is based on telepathy. So that's the transference of words, thoughts, colors, feelings, and emotions from one species to the next. But the interesting thing is we're all telepathic. We're born that way. It's the world's oldest form of communication. But when we start learning a verbal language, we put that to the back burner. So whether you realize it or not, you're probably telepathic with your animals. You're just not giving yourself the space to hear them back. But if you have to evacuate or uproot quickly, or not quickly, just uproot, talk to your animals, let them know what's going on. And you can do this just thinking a message in your mind or verbal communication. But if you think a message in your mind, the animals always 100% receive it. And I always tell my clients too, because they say, well, what exactly do I say? Just pretend they're like a toddler, like 5 years old, and be like Jojo the kitty, for example. We have to leave the home because there is a fire coming. You're going to be safe. You're staying with us. We'll get a safe place and we'll figure stuff out. Just exactly like you would with a kid, And honestly, like when we evacuated, my cat was like full on house cat. And it was funny because she is so spiritual. She's my little helper when I work with clients. And I swear, James, like she always left her body and astral traveled. And so for the past few years, we always called her Moon Kitty. That's her nickname. Moon Kitty. And she'd be like just a vessel, like there'd be no soul in there. She'd be gone floating around. And when we evacuated, I was saying goodnight to her one night, and I was so upset because I just found out our house burned down and everything. And I was saying goodnight to her. We were in a hotel, and I heard her clearly say, "I'm Earth Kitty now." And I was like, what? So she hasn't astral traveled since. I know that might sound crazy, but we talk about all things on this podcast, I've read.
Yeah.
So now like stayed in her body, and she showed me an image of the map of Canada and with all these like lights flickering up on the map. And after that, we decided we were going to drive across Canada to stay with my family while we figured out our situation. So my cat went from like astral travel cat homebound at the same time to now she knew she was an Earth Kitty, and she was showing me the map of the route of where she was going to explore. And she embraced evacuation. We were evacuated July 22nd. We just got settled in family's house November 1. So from those days, she was like confident, purring in all the hotels, all the Airbnbs. We had slept in a vehicle for days. And it's because I communicated with her what was happening.
Wow,
So,
that's
long
amazing.
story short, I encourage everyone who is in a precarious situation, just talk with your animals.
I love that. And so as Earth Kitty, does she still work your chakras?
Yeah, she does everything. She's a powerful creature. Powerful.
I love it. They're like little galactic beings, it feels like.
Oh, they are. They are. Like every time I look at her, I don't even think she's not from this planet. She's not. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I have more questions about that, definitely. But first, like, let's take the audience back to your journey and where it started. And was 3 the first significant experience that you can recall?
Yeah, it's funny because I have a really good long-term memory. Like I've had memory loss since the fire. So don't ask me what I did yesterday, but if you ask me what I did when I was like 1 year old, I could tell you. I had very vivid memory from childhood. And I was born remembering past lives, and I would reenact past lives. And I just thought that was normal and that everyone else did it. But once I start like vocalizing it more, people are like, huh? And but I just always had this passion for I knew that there was just something more out there. I always sensed the presence of angels or beings around me. And so thankfully, my parents were quite open and allowed me to express this, because my mom did grow up in like a very strict Roman Catholic household. So for her to be like, oh yeah, figure it out, like, was nice. Because what happens is, as you probably know, Jamie, is we get shut down as kids. Our abilities, we get shut down with parents, society, teachers, whoever, right? And so the fact that my parents were like, yeah, you can do your imaginary past life stuff and whatever, and we'll support it. But, then there were some things I pinpoint, like things I shouldn't know, like indigenous tribe names and languages and stuff like that at 3 years old. So my mom started going to the library and getting books, because this is way before the internet, books on reincarnation. And I just got so fascinated with it. And I was like, I want to be a psychic when I'm older, and I want to do something with reincarnation. And my mom was like, okay. I always wondered, like, I just kind of pictured myself sitting at like a desk at a library, like writing books on reincarnation. But now, move forward 40 years, here I am with working on animal reincarnation. But so that's what started me. And then when I got into high school and stuff, I still spoke about everything. And again, I was just like, really? You don't remember your past lives? Like, I thought it was odd, or really? You don't see ghosts? Really? You don't talk to your pets? Like, it was just bewildering to me. And so it was just always something I loved tapping into, loved feeling. And I always just feel there's more to Earth and to humans and this 3D life. And I think I'd be really scared to live if I didn't feel that. Like, if I thought this was it, I'd be like, and now I understand where some people come from, like being scared of life and everything, right?
Sure.
But it wasn't until my soulmate dog passed away in 2016, where, as you were saying in the intro, my grief was so thick and I was very upset and I didn't want to live. And then it hit me one day. I'm like, if I remembered my past lives and I've reincarnated, why can't my dog reincarnate? And I just got like this boost and this passion ignited in me. And I was like, I'm going to get my dog to reincarnate back. And that's kind of what led me to doing animal reincarnation and pet mediumship.
Wow, that's amazing. And even like dating back to when you were little, it feels like, so your mom was supportive. Did she go from like a place of skepticism to like belief when you started like sharing some of that indigenous information and stuff that she can like
She was always a believer, but she wasn't allowed to talk about it because of her Roman Catholic family. But it's funny because, well, I shouldn't say funny. My grandmother passed away 5 years ago, and now she's my helper when I do readings. And I've had a reading before, and she's come in and she said, sorry, I didn't support you when I was alive, but it turned out she was a medium, but she was too scared. Like, the church kind of narrowed her in, right? Yeah. So she was too scared. And I'm hearing from like relatives, oh yeah, your grandmother, she had some power. She always saw ghosts. She always saw spirit. I'm like, why couldn't we have had that bond, that relationship? But anyway, it's all good. We're friends now. She helps me along the way.
I love it. Showing up to support from the other side.
Yeah. And it's funny. So this may be going off topic. I apologize. But when my house burned down and we weren't allowed back in our community for weeks, it looked like a bomb went off, like LA looks like. That's what it looks like. It still looks like that. Anyway, so the insurance adjusters came to town and sent me photos, and they're like, do you want to see it? Like, it's pretty bad. I'm like, yep, like rip the Band-Aid, show me the photos. So we're looking at the photos and we zoom into one, and there's my grandmother's teacup perfectly sitting. I'll show you. It's right here. Perfectly sitting on a pile of ash. 2 of them. Wow. That was it. all that was left of my house. And it's funny because the whole time I was saying, Grandma, where are you? Like, help me, I'm devastated. And then this was her sign that she was
Wow.
working behind the scenes. And it's funny because floors crashed on this, and yeah,
That is
they didn't break.
amazing. Wow. It's so well preserved, just sitting there like, I am
Yeah.
here, I'm still supporting you.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of people got stuff like that. Again, sorry if this is off topic, but my neighbor whose children both tragically died in horrible scenarios separately, his house burned. But when they were doing their debris removal recently, one of the boxes of ashes was perfectly intact, and a photo album, like old school photo album with pictures, opened with their pictures sitting upright. The both kids.
Wow. I have chills.
Right. So it goes to show you, like, when something bad is happening, the spirit world is still working with us. We just might not recognize it at the moment.
Absolutely. And Jaime, just to go back a little bit into, because you share the loss of your soulmate, your dog, and I know that there was a mediumship experience you had where somebody came in from the other side that wasn't connected to you, your family. And so do you want to speak a little bit about how that message came through and how you like kind of discovered you had this ability?
Well, I always thought I had the ability, but I never knew that it could be something I could do or
Sure.
like change people's lives, right? So we had this, my new neighbor came to town, and I was like sitting there one night. I was like, you know what, maybe I'll invite her over for a glass of wine. She doesn't know anyone. And I wasn't expecting her to say yeah. And she's like, yeah, I'll be right there. And I'm like, okay, that was odd. Like, why am I felt inclined to pull her over. And then so we're having a glass of wine, and all of a sudden I just felt the energy in the room change. And I remember just sitting there, and I looked over, and I just could see in my mind's eye, like not like a real person standing, but in my mind's eye, because I work very clairvoyantly. And I saw this young man with a baseball cap on, like blondie brown hair, and just sunlight coming in from him. And I knew what his name was. And I was just like, oh, do you know anyone by the name of Luke? And she's like, yeah, that's my friend's brother who was killed in a car accident a year ago. And then the messages just started streaming through, like, I need to tell my sister I'm here, and with these memories and these memories. And he showed me what happened. He was actually on his way to his parents' house for dinner, and was in an accident. And he showed me like the sun. He couldn't see. So anyway, she was like, oh my gosh. And, we just kept drinking. And then the next day she messaged me, and she said, I messaged my friend, and everything you said, she validated. And it was something she really needed to hear, because she's not doing well, like really grief stricken. And so I was really felt honored that this individual came to me. But I feel like, looking back on it, I was guided to invite this girl over. Like, we never hung out again. Like, we had such a great night, and it's like we never hung out. Like, we weren't meant to be like lifelong friends, but I just had this inkling her to come over. And it's almost like the spirit world finds like little lights of people that they can like almost like direct and guide to the message.
Yeah. 100%. They found your lighthouse.
Yeah. So I always say, like, the spirit world knows exactly what they're doing, and we can't fathom how, like, I always wonder, do you wonder, like, how do they plan ahead? Like, how do they plan the future? Like, how, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's so miraculous, things that spirit is capable of doing.
It really is. It really is. And that's just so beautiful, to have such a profound experience and powerful experience. And it works like in so many ways, because like just helping to build your trust and maybe inspiration to do like the work that you do now, and then as well as help this person through grief and healing is such a beautiful experience.
Yeah. And you know, mediums do say like one good reading can conquer like 20 years of you going to grief therapy. Not that I'm dismissing therapy, everyone has their thing, but like, you know, some people can go and go and go and never feel like they're getting anywhere. And you have one good mediumship reading and they feel, mom wasn't mad at me. You know, like,
with those heavy questions answered that have been weighing on
them. Yeah. And the trick is you want to give like the validations, right? Like that proof that.
Right. Evidential.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you took the leap then from, so when you had delivered that first, like, well, I don't want to say first experience because you've been doing this since you're 30 years old. But when you delivered that message from there, is that what inspired you to do the work that you do now? Because you're working animal world, spirit world, angels.
Yeah. But what really like was the step off the cliff was COVID hitting. Because, you know, we couldn't work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to build a business. Wow. And I started taking like training, online training, classes, like constantly. And, you know, trying to teach myself social media and what to do. And I'm very lucky. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that it's been successful. You know, this is my full-time job. And but I guess part of me knows like I wanted that as a kid, to be a full-time like psychic medium and work in reincarnation. So I guess maybe I had an inkling that I was going to be doing it, so it worked. But I never take it for granted.
Oh. Well, you created it. It came around full circle and probably all well designed and orchestrated so you can do the human thing and whatever else you needed to do on your journey.
Yeah. And part of that journey was having my soul dog pass away. And that just really, really shook me, as I mentioned. And when I realized she could reincarnate back, that was like the cherry on top, right? Like people love their animals so much. And my dogs taught me that the relationship with us never ends. It's never over. It just feels like it is when they leave their physical body. But the cord, the invisible cord we have attached to each other, which she showed me, is unbreakable.
So is she still with you today?
Well, she reincarnated in 2019. Yeah, she reincarnated in 2019. So, yeah, and now we help dozens of people, like your friend, Rochelle, connect with their, but Rochelle was good with her intuition. She did a lot of that work. Help them connect with their fur babies who come back. And basically what that looks like is we connect with your animal on a mediumship level and then ask the reincarnation questions. How, what, where, when, why, you know, and they give us like almost like breadcrumbs and we have to like follow the breadcrumbs. So it's not as if it's very clear and concrete, like October 1st in, you know, so-and-so town at 5 p.m. I'll be born. We have to really tap into it and hear the messages, feel the messages, and trust. So it's like it's a journey. It's a journey.
It's beautiful. Now, is that a decision made on both ends, do you feel like? So with the pet and with the human, like wanting that to manifest?
Yeah, soul contracts.
Oh, yeah. I love that. I love that. And so do they ever come back as like different animals, like different kinds of animals? Or different breeds?
So my dog used to be a horse.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a horse in our previous life together. The main life that I would really reenact as a child. And yeah, she was my horse and we were both killed in battle.
Wow. So you guys go back.
We go way back, but everyone goes way back with their pets. Almost all the readings I do, and if someone wants to ask about a past life, the animal will be like, oh, I was here too, and like shows me the house and all that stuff. And yeah.
I love
And
that.
a lot of times people will be like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I lived in that country. I knew I lived in that country. And I knew that was from them.
An intuitive inkling.
What's that?
I said they had like an intuitive inkling about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just know. You just know.
All right. I have so many more questions on the reincarnation and the animals. We're going to go to a short break. And when we get back, we're going to dive into that.
Tickets are now on sale for Rebels of Disclosure 2025, May 12th through the 15th in Grafton, Illinois at the beautiful Pierre Marquette Lodge and Conference Center. This will be a 4-day event with 12 speakers covering topics such as ET contact, experiencer testimonies, lost history, secret space programs, time travel, Illuminati, parallel realities, and so much more. Visit journeytotruth.online for more details.
Are you thinking about purchasing a wood-fired heating or cooking appliance but don't know where to start? The new book, Wood-Fired Heating and Cooking, will guide you through the process and make the decision much easier. Find out about wood stoves, wood-burning fireplace inserts, masonry heaters, cook stoves, brick ovens, and more. Learn about operation and maintenance, buying and storing wood, even how to make your own charcoal. A bonus section includes delicious recipes for cooking in a wood-burning oven, grill, tandoori oven, or smoker. The wise homeowner, prepper, or homesteader will have the ability to heat their home with wood when the power goes out or to save money on increasing gas bills. Wood-fired heating and cooking is available at Amazon. Visit www.woodfiredpub.com for more information. That's woodfiredpub.com.
The UNX Network classes and workshops are enrolling now for 2025. If you're interested in psychic protection, chakra balancing, dowsing, or perhaps healing with sound and music, visit unxnetwork.com to see our complete series of live and on-demand classes and workshops hosted by the one and only Margie K. For example, in January 2025, you could spend 4 Saturdays with Margie for her exclusive live remote viewing workshop. Margie K is one of the most accomplished remote viewers in the world, and she will share her secrets and totally unique methods in this course. Some courses are open now. Seating is limited for these live courses, so register now at unxnetwork.com. UNX members use promo code XMEM for an additional 15% discount.
Welcome back to Starseed Ascension. I'm Jamie Boss Love with Jamie Breeze, our guest tonight, psychic medium and animal communicator. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we were just diving, well, we didn't dive in yet, but we scratched the surface on animal and pet reincarnation. And I can relate to what you're saying, because I remember my little fur baby that has passed away. I remember like a past life in Japan for sure. And so that this always fascinates me, this topic. And we do have some questions that I know some folks watching and listening were wondering about. And yeah, I'll go into that. Okay. So can animals sometimes, after they have transitioned and they're maybe in the in-between space, can they pop into another animal to like say hello?
Absolutely. And I love that question, because I'm sure so many people listening have watched the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze. If you remember the scene where he uses Whoopi Goldberg's body for a minute to dance with Demi Moore, and then he comes out. That's exactly what animals can do. And it happens more often than not because they're so spiritually connected. But you do need permission from the earthbound animal, from my understanding. But they normally invite them in. They're like, yes, your mom is grieving you. Please use my body and come through me. And so if your animal all of a sudden kind of looks different, or you feel your other animal coming through them, trust it. It happens a lot. Or you might just start seeing them acting like the other animal, doing something they would have done which would be out of character for themselves. It's that animal coming through.
Wow. I love it. And so I'm sure you've had that experience yourself.
Yeah, I have. When my soul dog passed in 2016, we had a service for her in the forest, and my friend's dog all of a sudden came up and sat on me the way my dog's name is Breeze, by the way. The way Breeze would sit on me, and he's never ever done that before. And he just started staring at me, which I knew wasn't him. So that was really profound. And his owner, his mom, was even like, that's not Maverick. That's Breeze in that body. And I'm like, I know. I can feel it. Yeah.
I love that. What a special and beautiful moment.
Yeah. And recently, Earth Kitty, her name is Lily. And I had a cat growing up who I always said taught me everything about the spirit realm. Her name is Kit Kat. She passed when I was 16. And the past couple months, I keep calling Lily Kit Kat. And at night, so many times I felt Kit Kat near me. So I'm pretty confident Lily is allowing her to use her body.
Sure. Yeah. Trust it, like you said. Yeah. And so are they ever humans? That question comes up a lot too.
It does come up a lot. And I think it comes up a lot because I feel like people believe that or feel it, right? In my work, I have never had the honor of working with an animal who have told me they were human or vice versa. But I believe anything is possible in the spirit realm, and I don't believe there's any limitations. So who am I to say, no, that's not possible? Of course, I believe that everything is possible. So I just have yet to have the honor of seeing it.
Wow. And, I know reincarnation and past lives is a topic of interest for you. Do you get that question that comes up with people's animals and their past life history? And is it similar to like a human that could have had trauma that they need to heal in this lifetime?
So what do you mean exactly?
So like, can an animal, so we talked about animals having a past life.
Yeah.
People can have past lives, and maybe they've gone through an experience in a past life and they're healing it in this lifetime. Does that happen with animals as well?
Yeah. With animals, yeah, I think I believe so. Animals are pure souls, and we think, why do they come back with fears and ailments and stuff? But I'm not sure the answer to that, why, if they're such pure souls, but I've seen them do that. I worked with this one dog who kept telling me they wanted, it was a couple years ago, so I'm trying to remember exactly, but this dog was having some behavioral problems, and I tapped in, and the dog said, I just really wanted to be all white, have all white fur. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I heard him say, like, I want to be called Snowy. And I mean, he had a bit of white and stuff like that. Beautiful boy. And when we tapped in a bit deeper, like, why? And it was so sad, Jamie. I saw him in like Nazi Germany, and he was a black dog, and a Nazi soldier shot him for no apparent reason and killed him just because of the color of his fur. And so he had trauma from that. And so he wanted to come here feeling like white so he wouldn't be shot, as bad as that sounds, but that's what he showed me.
Wow.
So
Aw.
yeah, and so, we try and do some energy healing, cord cutting, reassure him like that was then, this is now, you're safe now, that's not going to happen type thing. But so yeah, did that answer the
Yeah.
question? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And it's interesting, like just with the animals, like I know you do mediumship, so animals that have of course crossed over. Do you ever get questions just on the live pets and wanting to understand like maybe their behavior, what they're feeling and experiencing? And do the animals ever tell on their humans?
Oh yeah. Yeah. If
You ever get secrets
I would say
revealed?
if you're coming in as a group, like a family or husband, wife, and you have any skeletons in the closet, animals, if it's going to help with what we're addressing, the animals are going to talk about it, So, yeah, and sometimes it can be very tender topics. Like a lot of animals will bring up miscarriages, and that might not be something the woman wants to talk about, but the animal wants to talk about it. And they're saying, this is why I'm peeing in the bedroom, is because I need you to understand I'm here to help you, and like trying to help their person
Trying to get their attention, maybe, or to let them know.
and get them aware of something that's happening. Animals, a lot of behavioral issues animals have is because their people are doing something. So animals want the best for their people. That's their number one thing. And they will do what they can to get their people to hear them out.
Mischievous.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like during our animal communication sessions, it's very common for we focus on the animal, but the animal can instantly turn it towards the human, and the human like can leave the session feeling like profound life changes of themselves because you know what I mean? The animal wants the best for them.
They want to support and help. And I love that. No, that popped in. That was like one of those like moments like that popped in, because what I was thinking about was, Rochelle's little girls. One of them is Luna, and she recently took my pants and hid them from me. And I was trying to figure out, I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, interesting. Did you figure it out?
We're gonna have a chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was playful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was funny.
I'll have to tap into that.
Yeah. We'll talk about it offline.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my little guy, when he passed, a message came through, and his name is Mo, his little Shih Tzu, and I had him for 16 and a half years. And this message, I remember, came through like about 2 weeks after he transitioned, and said, my name will be Maximo, and I'll be a Frenchie, like a French bulldog. And at the time, a brindle, those specific details. And I was like, I can't see myself like getting that kind of dog, but like if it's you, sure, But then what happened was, like a year and a half later, a neighbor came home with a puppy that was a French bulldog brindle named Maximo. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, maybe he's taking a little stop in between. So does that ever happen sometimes? Like they go to another animal and then they come back to you at a later date?
Yeah, or they could just be using that body for a little bit. There's something called soul swapping. Mm-hmm. So animals can swap souls at certain times. I had a client whose dog's new body was born before the original body gave out. And that like blows your mind, right? But what happens is some souls, some animals don't want don't care to experience, say, the birthing process again. Been there, done that. You know, they want to come back in when the puppy's walking and seeing and playing and jumping. And so again, you need to ask permission. Like, you have to have permission from the animal on earth too. And then they can swap out. And then the animal who swaps out, they might not want to experience a full life again, you know, but they're doing it to help one another. So yeah, soul swapping can happen a lot. And for your guy, yeah, I'd have to like see a picture to tap in more. So I do like working with a photo with animals. It's not necessary, but eyes are the windows to the soul. I really enjoy working with a photo. And that's how I was trained too. So I'm kind of going by that. But he could have just been using that body to say quick hello. Absolutely. Have you seen him since?
In the dream space and like the astrals, yeah.
But not in that brindle body.
Nope, not physically.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so in the dream space, and I'm sure those dreams are really intense, right? Like, do they feel like visitations?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So see, he's still very connected, always connected.
Oh, show. So you, as a child, you talked about fascination with heaven too. Do you want to talk about that? Like what your experience is, what you perceive it to be like when we transition, if there's heaven on earth, that sort of thing. What are your perspectives?
So I always thought when I was a kid, like, it's in the clouds and you go up and there's the guy with white beard and and angels floating around. Maybe it is. I don't know. But you know the movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come?
Uh-huh.
If you haven't watched it, anyone listening, please watch it. I found that was amazing. Just the rekindling with your loved ones and how you can fly, you can jump, anything like that. But I guess, what do I believe the other side is like? I don't even know if I have the proper terminology to explain it, because I don't think time really exists. And I think you can be in multiple places at once. But what I do trust is it's bliss where everyone's okay, everyone's loving, everyone's happy, reconnected. And I don't know why my human brain really can't fathom more of that, especially when I work in the heavenly realm a lot, almost on a daily basis. Like, why can't I pinpoint that? But I'm trying to think of another good example. Yeah, that movie is really good. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense. I guess I don't really know what heaven is like, but when I connect on a mediumship level with animals and humans, it's pure love and amazement. And it makes me feel so good. Like, if I'm having a bad day and I go into a mediumship reading, it turns my whole epicenter around. And it's just pure love, pure happiness, everything.
I love that.
Do I believe people sit on clouds? I kind of still do that. I do believe people sit on clouds, because when I go back, that's what I want to do, is I want to sit on a cloud. But yeah, and do I believe in angels? Absolutely. Do I believe they have wings? I do. I do believe some angels have wings. Yeah. Maybe I'm old school, but but you know what? You know what's a bummer? And I was thinking about this morning. When I was about 20 years old, I opened up to the heavenly realm, the other side, and I said, show me. I'm not scared. I promise you. Because I'm clairvoyant, right? So everything I see is in my mind, or I get the feelings or the knowings.
Yeah.
So I was lying in my dorm room, and it was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm lying in my dorm room like, okay, God, angels, like, just show me yourself. And nowhere to lie, the ceiling in my dorm opened up like this, and there was a billion fast shooting stars dropping in. And I knew in my mind that those shooting stars were going to form into a figure of an angel or a person or something. And Jamie, the fear that went up through my body was terrifying. And I hid under the blankets and started crying. And I was like, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And then finally, like, I got brave and I peeked out and my ceiling was back. And it was dark.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn it. Like, since then, I'm kicking myself. Like, why didn't I just, like,
You want to redo?
I want to redo. And I know my team is laughing at me on the other side saying, oh, do you really? Because it'll probably still be scary. But I wish I was brave enough to, with my naked eye, see that. Because I think it'd be really cool. And I don't know where I'd be in the world right now if I could see that, right? But I think what scared me too is I lived in a haunted house growing up. So I was really scared of seeing things. So
did you have to do healing around those experience being a medium and kind of like just freely opening your channel?
Did I have to do what?
Any kind of healing around growing up, like you said, in that haunted environment?
Oh yeah. So when I was 16, I started working with like a shaman and a spiritual healer on a very regular basis. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And that's when I actually closed myself off to lower vibrational energies. And only allowed higher vibrational energies like angels, our loved ones on the other side, to come through. So it's like a light switch. I'm not seeing lower energies, haunted houses, ghosts, whatever. I'm very uncomfortable in that environment. If I walk into a house and I think it's haunted, I'm out of there. I'm not staying. And it just doesn't feel good to me. But, and that's the other thing too, is when I was a teenager, I couldn't sleep at all because I was always terrified, right? But once I started really working with the spirit realm, I'm okay sleeping alone at night. I'm okay if I'm in the house by myself. Like, I'm okay walking down a dark hall. Like, very different relationships with energy.
Yeah. You feel protected and safe now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But I will not go anywhere haunted.
I don't blame you. Yeah, that can be like frightening experiences, especially like if you visually see, feel, or just have an experience that's ingrained in that way. What do you feel is the role of the other side in our awakening process?
That's a really interesting question, because part of me kind of just feels that they are just like, you guys, seriously, like, what are you doing, right? And it's almost embarrassing as the human race keeps destroying the planet and being mean to one another. So I think I'm going to struggle with that, answering that question. I guess I think there's a deeper layer to it. I think we chose to come here. I know we are spiritual beings and we chose to come here for some sort of learning and purpose. And I guess what I believe is they're there to support us and hold our hand as we navigate and go through this.
And do you feel like, Jaime, like in your experiences with mediumship, that once somebody transitions and maybe they've gone through a certain experience on the other side, do they have a different perspective sometimes when they come through the channel than would be different than them in the human experience? So like maybe kind of a more spiritual.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So going back to my grandmother, like, she admits to it. She's like, oh, sorry, I totally like kiboshed you and all this stuff, and now I'm on your team. But I've had people's fathers, for example, come in and they'll be like, I don't believe in mediumship. And me and my client are like, you're talking to me. And but they'd be like, oh my God, he'd always say that. He'd always say that. Like, this is nonsense. Stop wasting your money. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, but at the same time, the spirit realm wants to showcase their same characteristics, right? So of course that dad is going to say that. But there's been a couple of times I'm like, it's very convincing, and I'm like, oh my God, do you not know that we are communicating? Like, do you not know you're in the spirit realm? Like, because it seems so like firm. So yeah, it's hit and miss, I think.
Yeah. They're either about like coming through their personality to validate, or they're like, could be some like genuine confusion of where they are, maybe as a spirit.
But you know what? I don't think there is confusion in my heart, because like I believe when we leave our physical bodies, we're there and we're all going to be okay. So I don't know why someone would be confused, but I could be wrong. Again, anything is possible.
Sure.
I've never experienced someone being like confused, like, where am I? What's going on? I've never had that.
Very cool. Well, we have a few minutes left, and I know that you had an ET experience that I wanted to ask you about, that you wanted to share. And also, just out of curiosity, have you seen any UFOs or interesting lights in the sky, like being kind of in your little mountain community and having like
yeah, I have, but it's been in daytime.
Okay.
I was standing outside of my work a few years ago, and this ball of fire was over in the distance, and I called my coworkers out. I'm like, look, there's like this ball of fire. And we watched it, and it like came slowly and hovered over us. And I don't know how big it was, so I can't tell you how high up it was, but just hovered over us. And then it slowly kept going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. And do you know what that would be?
Wow.
Have you ever heard about that?
You said it was like an orb shape or like a light shape?
It's a ball.
Just a ball.
And it was like moving, so it looked like a ball of flame.
Wow.
But you know what? There's lots of songs about this area in folk rock about UFOs and stuff too. So a lot of people have seen stuff. But I do want to tell you about my recent galactic encounter. So I started doing what's called trance meditation. So you go into a deep shamanic state, and you can drop into past lives. Very cool, very fun. And I was not expecting this, but I went into this trance state, and there was this woman. She had big, beady black eyes and really short, vibrant pink hair. And she was wearing this black, creepy cloak with like big points on it. And it looked like Maleficent from Disney, her cloak. And they were like moving. And the only substance I can compare it to is like if you were working with like, if you poured like tar onto the ground and you watch the tar pull. And it sounds really scary, but the amount of love and peace she gave to me, I was like, oh my gosh. And I heard her say, we are Arcturian, and I'm your mother. You come from me. And it was all dark behind her, like space, and like, so you'd see that on TV and you'd be like, oh, aliens or galactic people are scary. But it wasn't like that at all. I came out of that meditation and I was like, holy moly, that was awesome. And like, she showed me like just being a little speck of her. So like a seed. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if that's where the term like starseed comes from. She's like, you're a part of me. And she like picked off this little seed.
Wow. So, but the feeling you said wasn't scary, even though.
Oh, it was beautiful and amazing. And like when you do a trance meditation like that, you know you've gone into a trance-like state because you can't get the vibe off of you, and you're just immersed with it for like days. And like for days, I was like Arcturians, like on Google, like I was looking for a picture of trying to find my mother, and learning about the Arcturian traits and all this stuff. And then, you know. Yeah, so I guess I'm an Arcturian starseed.
Love it, love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Opening
do you know much about Arcturians? I might have to ask you about that.
Yeah, we can definitely. Yeah. I mean, well, we'd have to go into another episode for.
Yeah, but quickly, when she said that, I forgot to mention this. She showed me that some galactic beings are actually a form of angels.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. That's beautiful. And so just out of curiosity, real quickly before we wrap up here, did you have any fears prior to with the galactic space or realm?
No, only from Hollywood.
Yeah. I get
Only
that a lot.
from Hollywood. Actually, no, that's a lie. I believe I encountered a reptilian once. I forgot about that.
Okay. So stuff's
Yeah.
starting to resurface for you.
Yeah, I lived in the Czech Republic for a year, and I was walking after work, and there was this huge group of people coming towards me, and I felt awkward. I saw this man cross the street and walk towards me with the crowd. So I don't know what made me pinpoint him. He was tall and lanky, and I just had my eyes on him as he was walking by. And as he walked by, he turned and looked at me very quickly, and he spit out his tongue, and it was like a lizard tongue, and it rolled back in, and he kept walking, and I was shocked and terrified. Does that happen?
That would be a scary experience.
Have you heard of that before, or am I crazy? I actually am not crazy because I know what I saw. I know
I've
what I
heard
saw.
it all. I feel
Okay.
like so nothing is weird or out of out of the realm of possibility, as we say, right? And
yeah,
I'd love to chat further with you about the Starseed experience, Arcturian characteristics, and a little bit about that. But for right now, just since we're about out of time, and we appreciate you so much, I'm so grateful that you came today to share your experiences. How can the people get a hold of you if they want to have a reading, whether mediumship or animals or any of the other spiritual realm that you channel?
Yeah, so I have a website, and I'm on Instagram. It's Jaime Breeze, and my spelling of my first name is Jaime and then Breeze. So JaimeBreeze.com or at Jaime Breeze.
Beautiful. Jaime, thank you again so much. Everybody listening, watching, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, may you find peace in the mysteries of the cosmos. Much love.